morning, everybody. On behalf of Chettinad School of Architecture, Chennai, I'm Structural Engineering Maitli, and today with us joining Architect Loganathan Sir, Dean of CSOA, and Architect Vaityanathan Sir, HOD of CSOA. Welcome you both, sir. And also joining with us today's guest speaker, Architect Valiyappan Sir. Welcome you, sir. We welcome all of you to this wonderful webinar session titled Place Making in Cities. We welcome all the participants to this webinar, which is certainly going to be very useful in terms of giving into architectural studies to aspirants and their parents. Once again, I would like to welcome Chettinad Management for helping us to organize this program. Now I'm pleased to introduce about today's speaker, Architect Valiyappan Sir. He finished his BArch in Tyagaraja College of Engineering, Madurai, and his master's in urban design at School of Architecture and Planning, Delhi. He was Dean of Agni School of Architecture and Design Excellence from 2015 to 2017, and also a jury member in various colleges. He is also the founder and principal architect of Carving Design Consultant. He has 16 years of experience in architecture, urban design, and interior design. He has also done various heritage and landscape projects and multi-story building. He is also an associate of Indian Institute of Architects. We welcome you, sir. And now I would like to hand over our guest speaker, Valiyappan sir, to deliver the few words about this webinar. We welcome you, sir.
Good morning, one and all. In the first place, I thank Architect Loganathan and the entire CSOA team for having given me the opportunity to kind of share our experience with studio works in cities. It's been a great pleasure knowing Loganathan sir for quite long, and very inspiring person. And thank you so much, sir, for giving us this platform. So am I to roll on with the presentation right now?
Yes, please.
So I'll just get on with that. Is it clear?
Yes. Now
Can we go?
Clear. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So this is a very interesting time to this particular placemaking and urban design. Did my master's in SPA, as it was said in the introduction. So since then was trying to do something or the other with the cities. Either it's big or small, wanted to somewhere contribute for the of an eye placemaking is what I suggested. And today what I'm going to take you through is the journey of what we have been doing over the last 16 years. So just bear with me, because now the office is working in online. So I've just done a jugalbandi of various presentations, like I generally go to a presentation with a proper format and all that. But this time, because it was placemaking over the last 16 years, I just picked slides from various presentations, and there is a reason behind it also. I wanted to show a certain continuity of what started when and how did it end up. Because urban design is unlike architecture, where you will not design or you will not see the end result within 2 years or 3 years. There are projects which were completed in 6 months' time. There were projects which even started at scratch after 15 years. So I had to go about this mix of things. So what I'm doing is just, this is a regional map of the Madurai area, but slightly tilted towards north to fit in the various sites. So what you see on those four colored zones are the LPA region of the Madurai city. We work in city projects within the LPA region, and all these red dots that you see. The first one on the left is a very recent project that we're doing in the master plan for the Alagarkoil temple complex, which is far north. And in the east, number 12 is the city projects that we have done for the Tirupparamundram temple and its surrounds. And plenty of projects within the Madurai region. So just to give you the stretch into which we operate on, and since 2008, I've stopped working on projects outside Madurai. Now, whatever we do is only within the city of Madurai. And this is the next zoom level, which is the core city of Madurai. And these red shaded areas, which I'll be just taking you through the course of the presentation, are the sites which we have given in proposals, we have intervened, and quite a few of them have got realized at site also. So towards the west, number 12 is your railway station, and you could see the 4 concentric outer squares of the Madurai core town. This is something which I've been working on since 2003. So this is one fascinating photograph of my town. Madurai, it's known for its heritage, it's known for its culture, but this photograph right in front of you is the temple complex, which in itself is a city. It's not built by one person. Over various eras, by various rulers, the Pandyas have contributed, the Nayaks have contributed, and post independence, the government authorities have taken plenty of decisions. That's what an urban design. It's just not one decision. It's a complex process where plenty of decision makers are there. So this complexity of the complex temple itself fascinated me and made me stick on to this urban design and public place making. This slide that you see is what Madurai is. For most of them who do not know Madurai, it's just the temple towers. But the identity of my town is the variety of pictures that you see in this particular slide. We have a nightlife which is the most unique thing of the cities in the world. Jallikattu, as most of you know, the eateries, the food stalls, the cinema halls here. But somehow we have not been doing kind of sensible urban design post-independence. Whatever was done by the rulers and the kingdoms earlier, they did a phenomenal job. They just stuck to their basics. But somewhere we lost our track, and we started, in the name of development, we started losing the identity of the city in itself. Now every city wants to look absolute replica of the West, and a lot of commercial architecture being done all across the whole city, where people kind of bring their self before what it is. But having done urban design, I somehow wanted to do both in architecture as well as in urban design, to stick to the identity of the place from which I hail from, and whatever project that I do in this place was something to do with this unique identity of this region. I would like to kind of just take a close look of these 5 pictures. These are 5 heritage sites of Madurai. The first thing, the Meenakshi Temple, the Mariamman Tank, which most of you would have seen, the celebrated Pudu Mandapam, the Tirumala Nayak Mahal, and the one which you see in the center is a Pattathoon, which is 10 pillars, which was part of the whole Nayak Palace, which I myself didn't know until I was in 4th year architecture. Though these were supposed to be pillars around which the elephants of the Nayak rule were kind of placed in. It was used to be huge urban spaces around. And the Tirumala Nayak is somebody who I always kind of have a special place in my heart, because he's somebody who's like what Raja Cholan is to Tanjore. Tirumala Nayak is somebody who's contributed so much to the town in terms of the built infrastructure, the fraternity into which we are here in. So this next slide are current pictures of the same sites that you saw. Thank God, post-independence, nothing much has been done into these sites. Whatever that has happened around these sites, there are plenty of things due to administrative reasons happening, due to political reasons happening. But somehow these have been untouched. But excepting few things which should not have been done to these heritage structures, fairly 90% of them are intact, excepting for the passage of years and age. The things are just the same here. And I'm just showing you comparative pictures of what the festivals, like what the built infrastructure to Madurai is. Madurai has these festivals like most of the Indian towns, very unique thing where the congregation of people is much larger, and it's kind of not died like what happened in other cities because of development. This seems to be fairly the same as I said, in terms of what the infrastructure, built infrastructure is. 90% of these cultural festivals are also remaining intact. This next slide is where on the same single day of Chitra Paurnami, we have several lakh people thronging our river Vaigai. You could compare the old pictures and the new pictures. Not much of a change. Only thing is the riverbed then and the riverbed today. You could see the cultural thing not being changed even by a spark. You know, the way the attires that they wear during this festival is just the same as what happened several hundred years, several decades back. So every project that we try to do, we see how we could kind of stick to this identity. So the first thing that I'm taking you through is the first comprehensive project that we were given in. I was first appointed as the consultant of the Madurai Municipal Corporation for kind of beautifying the Meenakshi Temple, Saranjolo. So the first comprehensive project came in through a central government scheme called the JNNURM by the then Congress government, the Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission. So we were appointed the heritage consultants for this particular scheme for the city of Madurai. Madurai was one of the selected cities then in the JNNURM. So we need to go into depth of, before you touch anything on a public design, we need to have your history thorough. We need to know who's contributed what, how the city is evolved. These are things, if you don't understand, you will make blunders into the city. So one did a lot of research and understanding of how the city evolved. And for convenience of the respective guidelines of the scheme, the Madurai city then was split into 4 zones. The pink zone that you see in between is the zone 1, which is the heritage core, the 4 valley streets of the Madurai, the river Vaigai. The then corporation limits. In 2006, the Madurai corporation had only 76 wards. So all the heritage sites within that particular corporation limit was called as preservation zone 3. And those, we have plenty of heritage sites outside the corporation limits also. So those were classified as preservation zone 4. So I'm just going to quickly run through major 4 issue potential principles based on which we have been doing almost all our city projects and understanding the city. If you take, I'm just going one by one. If you take up the central core, like any other town, it's kind of highly dense. It is centralized activity because of the temple. There's a lot of traffic and pedestrian conflicts. There's a lot of increase in flow of vehicles into the town because all commercial establishments, because of real estate market, is into the core. This is something which the city is facing since the 80s. And all the open spaces have come out of the city. There is not much open space, breathing space at all in the core. And the commercialization has led to incoherent facades in the whole of the core town. And the temple roads, you know, the temple is already sunken by about, it is sunken by about more than 3 feet and not, where the water from surrounds goes into the temple. You could see the second image where post-independence, there has not been a single time until we intervened that roads were removed and relaid. It was always laid one on top of the other. The old heritage structures that are there, they've been built all around, encroached. There's been pressure on sewage and other services. The tourists who come in don't understand what is where, accepting even today, till date, in spite of all this happening, the signages is a big loss here in this town. And plenty of hoardings which come up because of the commercial establishments. But in spite of all these issues, there are plenty of potentials. We as urban designers, we've always been taught not to look only at the issues, we've been taught what to look at the potentials. In terms of the potentials, that temple, Meenakshi temple is an everlasting treasure trove. Even 100 years from now, this is going to be a treasure trove. There are a lot of monuments around the temple core, which has not been announced to people at all. There are tanks and festivals which we saw earlier. It's a very globally well-connected town by both rail and road and air. And a lot of money also pumping in. This was then because of the IT. Now smart city funds are being pumped in. So money is not a problem nowadays. And these immediate action plans, which were considered to be immediate action plans in 2006, is what we have been slowly doing over the last 16 years. So it's not just immediate action plans, it's a continuous plan. It's like we've been for the establishment of an urban arts commission, because we don't want just the DTCP and the LPA to just approve plots. We want an urban arts commission, which is just much in papers. We've been able to achieve certain things, but we've not been able to achieve certain things. And clearance around the building heritage sites, that's happened to a certain extent. Public awareness, there is a good amount of public awareness over the last decade. And we have also worked on the transportation issues, where we have tried to work on network public transport system, which is slowly happening. And decentralization of the core city, which is usually taught in planning, that's something which we have achieved to a great extent also. And my personal favorite is to encourage pedestrians wherever possible, because that's what the whole world is talking about. We have been like that pre-independence, but somehow post-independence, vehicles have been our first thought. Anything and everything that we do, we first think of the vehicle. We don't think of the human being who's going to use that place. And we also advocated on fixing the standard road levels. That has been achieved to a certain extent. Uniform facade controls. We have done some good research on the facades of Madurai. We have tried to understand the facades of Madurai. So we are trying to bring in every project that we're trying to do, at least with the heritage core. So this is by and large a larger structure plan which involves everything that I spoke to you about. We have created parking lots outside the city in terms of through various departments. The HRNC has got its separate parking lot. The MMC has got its separate parking lots, but these were what was thrown as ideas in 2006 as to how we could kind of get the entire River Vaigai. How do we get it through? River Vaigai is now a major smart city project done by Vapcos consultants from Kerala. So each of this one scheme sketch that I've shown has been converted into plenty of smart city projects today. This is the 14 heritage sites which we listed in 2006. So I'm just going from left top, the Mariamman tank, the old fort wall, the Kodalalagar thermal tank. Gandhi has a very important link. Gandhiji kind of changed into his loincloth only in Madurai. This is the place where he brought in the lower caste into the temple. It's got a lot of significance, but somehow we have not been, though we've been portraying about it, because of the ownership issues, we have not been able to do much about it, excepting for identification of these places. The temple, the Buddha Mandapam. I'll just go into these slides, a few select slides where works are happening on. I'll just show you during the course of the presentation. So these were the first listed 14 sites. And these were our proposals which we gave in 2006 to these specific sites. And I'm not going into detail because I'm going to do a next thing where the smart city has got all these details. But one or two, we have just stuck to the same designs and thing in last 16 years. I'll just take you through. So this is an arrival plaza which was foreseen in 2006. This is the decentralization which I was talking to you about. A 5-acre central market which was functioning within the city was shifted outside the town in 2008 after the pedestrianization project was implemented. So now this particular project is now becoming multi-level car parking, which is dealt by another consultant, and the Heritage Plaza alone is done by us. This 5-acre site is converted to a Heritage Arrival Plaza, where this is the place where vehicles will cease and people will get into the pedestrianized zones of the temple. This is the large central market replacement project that we had worked, but somehow there was parallelly in urban design. What happens is the owners of this market also, they started they were not very happy with the site which was provided near Matathavani because it didn't make sense. It was provided to the government, which we also fought that that's not the right place. But they look at logistics of the vehicles coming in from north and wherever the vegetables are going to come in. So they wanted a site in the north. But since the government was adamant, then they took up a site of their own and they've got their own market built up. But this is one relocation plan that we had done. But this project didn't take up. But in the spirit, the central market was shifted to another place, and that 5-acre land in the core city got freed up. These are signages which we have been working on, because not only the designs that we do matters, but how do one access these various heritage sites? So these are things which we have been talking about and working on since 2006. And these are the facade controls. When we say facade controls, we just don't say it's facade controls. We try and educate the people in the corporation and the authorities, telling them as to what are the kind of details of what the architecture type in Madurai and why were they given like that and why we need to bring back that as the identity of Madurai. So we have done a good amount of detailed research and drawings on this, which is quite helpful when we started doing our intervention projects. These are the balcony trellises from which people watching the Their festival outside, because Madurai has festivals every month. So the photographs that you see on the right, almost 50-60% of these buildings are still intact. Its only thing is when you walk into the city and the ground floor, you'll see commercial establishments, but just peep about 3 feet higher, you'll see all this still remaining. Only thing is it would have been converted into a godown or something else. But it's not a long way to get them back into such usable spaces. The parapets, like what Chettinad architecture also talks about, how we dissipate heat through the parapets, ornamental parapets. The Madurai buildings also have these, so we have documented these. And now I'm going into the execution projects. These are the pictures of the immediate surrounds which we touched upon initially. And the 4 Chitrai streets around the Meenakshi temple was the first project that was given to me. I would want you to kind of have your eye on the graph that is there on the right side, which talks about 50% of the people walking in these 4 streets. When I got this through the statistics and the surveys done, the first thing which I took it up to the collector was saying that, sir, when 50% of the people using this particular road are walking, so why do we have to still allow vehicles to move around in this particular road? When I suggested this in 2004, they called me a joker. I was much younger. So in 2004, 16 years back, when I suggested this, most of it was a complete no against me. They said that this fellow is saying something which is not even thinkable. But now, with a lot of struggle in 4 years, in 2008, when we ensured with a lot of support from the district authorities and various IAS officers who sat here as collectors, now the city isn't looking back. I'll show you the pictures of what it is, how the city enjoys these pedestrian working around. This is the original graphics of urban design of how this Chitrai street roads were. Immediate surrounds of the temple were barren land. These roads had vehicles moving in. I'll show you photographs of how which relate to these sketches. This is how it was in 2005. You could see the photograph conveys that very simple thing as to how many people walk in this. But a very select group of people were still sticking on, that is especially the commercial establishments which wanted people to walk in, come in and buy. They almost made a kero in my office in 2006. They said, you are the man behind this. They came, sat in my office. They formed a false association called Chitrai Veedi Residential Association. And to our statistic that we have, not 10% of it is residential, 90% of it is commercial. They named it residential. And they fought in the High Court, and I need to kind of make a mark. Sorry for using a religion here, but it was a Muslim judge who passed an order saying that this pedestrianization proposal is something which is very much doable for various issues that we are dealt about. And we got the High Court orders, and for once we used the political will for the stronger thing, where we convinced them. It took about 4 years to convince people, but all that was done for the good. You know, like everybody pitched in at the right time, and they said no looking back now. I'm just taking you through the photographs of how it was in 2005, the Amansa Nadi. See the kind of the monument that's there, and see what we have done because of our reactive thinking. This is how it was. And these are the proposals where we gain landscaping detail of those barren lands around, and kind of getting these streets a little organized with proper paver blocks, removing the road level. We dug up the road to about 1.5 feet. That was in history in Tamil Nadu, where around such a historic place, 1.5 feet of the BT road was removed. And we laid it with paver block, and there was immediate response in terms of the water recharge that happened because of the interlocking paver blocks that we had used. So these were the proposal animations. This animation is something which was a visual which we did in 2006, and till date we have not changed any context of this. We are sticking to the same context of getting things done here. So this is how it got realized in 2008, an absolute pedestrianized environment, an organized area with enough green surrounds of the temple. These are some closer photographs of how the walls of the temple were made kind of visually permeable, so that those green areas, because the trees that were there were also used for the shades. We didn't cut a single tree out there. So these are the officers which I need to kind of thank them, because this, I think most of you would know, he's Hiren Bayes, who was the tourism secretary then. This is all in 2006. They made periodical visits. The people, you would see the government authorities just listening. For the first time, things were happening like this. They were listening to the consultant. Most of the side, they will take the back seat. The officers, once they understand that this person is looking at making something good for us, you can see the person with the blue shirt there. He's a city engineer, Shaktiver. He once called me and told me personally, as well as in another Thanksgiving meeting, that I had done about 100 crores worth of JNRM works, but the 4 crores of Meenakshi temple pedestrianization has fetched me names in the entire city. When he went and presented in Delhi, they started owning things. That's what is an urban design. It's just not what you do to the city. It's people take ownership of that. People kind of feel very happy about it. The one on the left with the brown shirt, who you see is the then collector, Mr. Jawahar. He started becoming very vehement. He said, he used the very word, that they started taking things personally. And he gave every bit of his to get this implemented. And these are morning shots of what the temple surrounds are now. The shades, this is what, these are photographs from which we start learning. How do you use greenery and tree in city areas? Though you've come and kind of given it to the pedestrians, see the places and hotspots which people prefer to sit. They need good. We forget all this. When a client comes to us telling about a site, if many a times we try to retain the trees, otherwise we simply say that yes sir, we'll do something, we'll do a replacement elsewhere in a farmhouse site of yours. We started making compromises. That's something which we should never do. Just see this slide. The left, the photographs taken in 1930s. Our culture is not changed. It's only we as the fraternity, as builders and the authorities, we think that everything is changed. We call development and we kind of do everything possible to deteriorate. See, even the priest then and the priest now, only thing is there's nothing much changed. It's only the physical space that they have to use is something which is the responsibility of us as designers, what we need to give them. This place has now become a morning exercise space. This is what is a photograph that you would see every day morning. And there was somebody who was in the city in a Rotary meeting came and told me, then we were looking in for walking around the race course and all that. Now our health is also taken care of and we go around Lord Meenakshi also. See the kind of shift in the ownership of the space. And experiments started happening. The current collector of Tuticorin, Mr. Sandeep Nandri IAS, was commissioner. He, through another designer's idea, they came in and they said that this tropical climatic zone that we live in, why not we look at some shades for the people, and not only just shades, let's experiment something which is very colorful, which the people will start owning up. And this one thing gave him the idea of creating happy streets in the entire city. He started blocking streets, calling it happy streets. So such experiments started happening. It's just not the West that it does. Once you create a platform, our city also got a lot of, our country has also got a lot of creative thinkers who do things like this. The nightlife. See the quality of life. Now a child is able to walk free with its parents and they start enjoying this space. Earlier, they would have to kind of hold the children not being hit from a vehicle or not being hit from a car or something. Now they are at ease. This is exactly what we as designers have to create a platform to the public. See the people thronging in. Now you can see the comparative pictures of what it was. We have not kind of done anything new. We have stuck to what happened in 1950. If you ask me what we have done nothing new. We've just traced our way back to what is happening. You could see the difference in 1915, 2003, what we have done at the same temple tower, same photograph, almost the same angle. We've got battery cars for people who operate for the elders and the physically challenged. And this started taking up huge things like in the national tag with the Modi government coming in, the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan schemes selected these places as the Swachh iconic places. Personally, also, it gave me an international recognition where we were asked to present in one of the conferences in Cancun in Mexico, where it was about pedestrianizing in a living town. And now that was one project which got implemented, and that continuity of that heritage projects that we did in JNRM is something which came into the smart city also. Smart city's only thing is the name has changed. I always use this tag saying that it's the old wine in the new bottle. There is nothing changed between the JNRM and the smart city. The JNRM, you need to prepare a report. The report has to be sent in, and the report has to be funded then. But our prime minister's role is much different, like you preparing for a bank loan, then submitting reports and getting loan. He says that here I've given you the money, show me projects. So it's allocated 200 crores a year, and only thing is, and what else would a designer want? You have money in hand. Earlier, 2006, I, out of my personal experience, flew down to Delhi at least 10 times, looking at how to get through the project and how we can do something for the city. But funding didn't happen. There was a change in government. But smart city, he said, boss, yes, we have the money here. Now you go upon. So these are the same core areas, the same red areas which I've shown you are the selected sites. I'm just going to take you through the sites where work is happening. The Meenakshi temple was first perceived as the carved stones. But then we couldn't get the funding with local funds and tourism funds. We got the paved blocks done. But that dream has also come in. We have got the carved stones being done, executed now around the 4th streets. This is this Arrival Plaza, the Central Market, which I was telling you about. By then, when the smart city had come up, you could see the change in the site plan. Earlier, it was a market. Now, what you see is an open parking lot, which was then. Now, this open parking lot is created as the arrival zone. So, these are the revised arrival zone plans where you have the shops on the periphery. And these shops are not any shops that can come in here. Various heritage sites that we have taken up, there are shops which encroach those heritage sites. These are relocation plans for those shops. And most of you would have heard about the fire in the Meenakshi temple that happened, which destroyed a lot of commercial shops. This site is purely for those shops to be replaced. They are also heritage. That's what is our cultural heritage. So those shops are coming in here. Now you could compare this to what our stalwarts like Pradip Sachdeva did in terms of Delhi Heart, where you start walking through these commercial spaces which are our identity. So here the essence was those, getting inspiration from those places. Like you walk into an art bazaar in an arrival area, come into the spot by vehicle, and from it you're on the walk. The first floor plans, the facades. I told you about the research that we did in the Madurai facades. We wanted to kind of appropriately use them in the design interventions that we have done. These are the detailed drawings that we have done for the plaza. This is a 3D visualization of how we wanted this space to be a nice, large, arriving, inviting, open area with shops on either side, which just look traditional. And now the current execution stage. But now a lot of funny things also happen. Only the right side of this particular, you see the shuttering molds, the side which I have designed is only on the right. On the left, we have another architect who's doing this particular building, but though we fought a lot of things, that will look an alien structure to whatever schemes and heritage that we were speaking about. But we weren't able to do much, and that's also climbing up. We just be looking at it as to how we could compare and show as to what this would be and what the actual heritage thinking would be. The shops under construction right now, these are all photographs just a month old. The Pudu Mandapam. This is also another contribution by the Trimala Nayak. What you see on the left, the first two photographs talks about the monument, the rich monument which is kind of put to kind of dilapidated thing by the shopkeepers. And the photographs down that you see is what you can relate these pictures to our culture and festivals of Madurai. You'll see the image just like this. So what one had to do was kind of give them an appropriate relocation plan also and convert this Pudu Mandapam into a monument which can kind of be its original thing, so tourists could spend time there and the people can understand what it is. So you could see the site, the arrow mark that shows just one site next to the Pudu Mandapam. This is a site which I identified in 2003. this Kunnatur Chatram is a site which is as long as the Pudu Mandapam. And the Pudu Mandapam has shops only occupying only 1/4 of its area. Now you could compare this in scale. We have tried to, but this is a site which the then collector in 2003 knocked it off, raised it down, and gave it to me in 2004. But until 2018, this was a vacant land. There were a lot of litigations, nothing much happened. But now this structure is built, and those shops are to move post-COVID. Those shops are to move. So the 16 years dream of the Pudumandapam shops coming in as an art craft bazaar onto this site is just a few months away from now. These were the plans that we did, which was just similar to what the Pudumandapam culture is. We didn't want to kind of change much of it. And I tell you, this is a plan which was done in 2004. And it fits rightly even after 16 years. Once you don't change your concepts, once you're very clear of what it is, because we did go through that exercise also. Now 16 years has passed, we have to change these plans and we look at it. 9 on 10 of them said that this suits this place. So the first thing that you do when you take everything into mind, there is no looking back. 16 years, this was just lying down as a report. Now it's getting realized at site. These were the sections that was done. But now they've made one blunder right now because of this COVID, when they were pushing up a lot of work. Whatever you saw in as the transparent wall roofs that were to be done on top has been converted into the galvalume sheets. They simply said, sir, the estimates, it was changed as galvalume sheets. And now the whole lighting of that central space has gone for a 6. But I'm trying my level best to done. But if not now, we'll somehow get it done. These were the facades which were done, keeping in mind the research that we have done about the Madurai facades. These were the 3D illustrations that were done. Now, this is how this place looks right now. This is a photograph which is just a month old. That because it's going a little lengthy, I'm not taking the internal photographs. I'm just showing you the sites as to how it looks. So now 90% of what we actually envisaged is happening at site. The photograph on the other side, you could see the Meenakshi temple carved stones work also going around. This is another site which is a western entry to this pedestrianized zone. This we call it the Jhansi Rani Park, a very celebrated park where a lot of political things happened in Madurai, where MGR had his first meeting and all that. But half of the park was already converted into a water tank facility with commercial spaces. The remaining was this half of the park. But there were issues discussed as to whether it should again become another green open space. But we very strongly stood for an arrival zone at this place, because now nobody knows where to go and which point from where you start the entour into Meenakshi temple. So this is the western arrival zone for the Meenakshi temple. So these are the proposal drawings where we have these vehicle drop-off zones and one small L-shaped building just to accommodate replacement of the shops and pilgrim and tourist waiting areas, and facilities like toilets. And again, these are the facades which we had worked upon for this particular site. The 3D illustrations of how this site is going to look like. And this is the current photograph, which is just about 15 days old. Now, smart city, you see like what you envisage is happening within 2 years. My reports were given in 2018. By 2020, you are able to realize certain things took 16 years, certain things are happening within a couple of years now. This is the Meenakshi, the Tirumala Nayak Palace surrounds. Both JNURM and Smart City, you will not be able to do much into the monument. You can only do things around the monument and you can spruce up those spaces. I would want you to take a look at the last photograph on the left. The bottommost left photograph that you see is how the vegetation was around the whole of the palace. It was just redundant barren land. Now there are a lot of artifacts which are displayed, external artifacts that are displayed in the Mahal. So what we have tried to do is just create lush green spaces, some walkways around the Mahal, some gallery spaces for all these artifacts to be kept in. So this is one side, even most of the Maduraites have not seen. This is a picture like how it looked like the redundant space on that side. Now this is slowly going to be put into public use like this. And you get to see the Mahal with such a foreground. Nobody has taken a photograph of the Mahal from this side because this is the rear side of the Mahal. People know only the front side where it is all cluttered. but we as architects can create and make people kind of stay a little more in the place that is already. We are not going to rebuild the monument. We're just going to change the settings of the monument. Some other photographs of what being happening. So there is a trail, which is something which has been talked about for the last 14 years, a heritage trail connecting all these places, like heritage pamphlets being given. Various other uh, people also work on this, like the tourism department. So we want everybody to pitch in and kind of make use of this built infrastructure and the public places. So now on the left is what you see, the recently laid carved stones around the Meenakshi temple. This is how the whole thing is changing up. The heritage route is identified as the BT roads have been removed, interlocking paved block roads have been gone in here, 80 mm thick roads, which can also take a vehicle load, connecting these various heritage sites. Lighting, but lighting, they did a big mess. What we had done and what the corporation authorities did for their own personal agendas and personal benefits to kind of take up. I mean, I'm being just open in an open forum like this. For personal benefits, they started deviating from our specs. But one couldn't do much about it. As DPR consultants, you have certain restrictions. But wherever we could intervene, we did. Wherever we were not, we just saw to that at least there was an aligned lighting done. This is another small Patatun site, which I discussed about it earlier. And there, this again, we are connecting it part of the heritage trail, where we've just changed the Meenakshi temple and this area, because also we need to look at budget. These two were the carved stones places, and the others were the interlocking paving areas. This is one unbuilt project of mine, though it is approved in the JNNR and the Smart City. The HRMP authorities denied this particular project, but we're just pushing it hard. But one day I'm sure we'll get this project done. Is the Raya Gopuram, the unbuilt Raya Gopuram, which is otherwise called as the Motta Gopuram. This, people always look at it as a structure which is unbuilt. But to me as a designer, this is a place which is at an elevated place of about 6 meters from the ground level, which gives you the best view of the temple around. As a designer, one has a personal thing of converting this into a useful public place like this. So if I was to someday show a project which is not built, at least for some more time, this is something which is a very close to the heart project. We wanted to create, kind of make it more public friendly and usable space on top. And then now I've showed you the large projects, the large smart cities, JNRM projects. We do also work on small roundanas in the whole of the. I'm just going into detail about this project because the public designs are just not looked at as public design projects. We, like any small residence that you build, the efforts of drawings and the supervision at site is done to that extent. Every project that you saw earlier also has gone into that detail. So I just wanted to show you just this project. These were the illustrations of how we first gave them the roundanas to be. These are the basic drawings. This is the site. This is called the Arapalayam Roundana. Just on this side of the Roundana, when you see it's the river bed, the river Vaigai out down there. And this side is from the river Vaigai, you're looking at the Roundana. We were called into this project after the PCC that you see there, which is put up to that 600 mm height, was already done. When I sat with the authorities, told them that it need not be that, it can just be 150 mm from the road. The engineers and the authorities, they had their own reasons. They say, Madurai, we keep raising roads. What you did in Meenakshi temple is possible, but a place outside the core area, people will keep laying roads, and tomorrow the Roundana will get submerged. There are a lot of, but at least they agreed with me in terms of making it a public place. But it was also a risk. It was a first-time effort. We also experiment things. There was a lot of hues and cries saying that a Roundana, which is just to be seen as a Roundana, why should public move in and go in and sit in there? But I had different ideas in mind because it's we don't have the beach like what people in Chennai have, you know, like at least when we have the river in front where we could kind of feel the breeze, one was always looking at how this place could turn out to be a public space. So these are the marking stages. This man needs a lot of praise again in Madurai also. This is Sandeep Nandri IAS, who's the Thiruvaran collector now. He was personally involved in each of these projects. So this is after the civil work was complete. This is how this place got transformed. And I'm sorry, I am not carrying a video of this place currently, but when you see post 5 p.m. in the evening, this whole place is thronged with people, and there is so much of nightlife that happens in this open area. These are some more pictures of how the Ramtana looks. It was the first time setting where people started thinking that why should Ramtanas be just enclosed spaces? It can also be spaces for the public. It's the river view on the bridge that you saw earlier from the Ramtana. Some more pictures. Some more pictures. So post that, we did a couple of other Ramtanas. We were commissioned to do 5 Ramtanas. 3 of them have got built. This is the second one where we also try to bring in the temple there here as a part of our monument. What you see on the right are the pictures, the post-built pictures of how it got realized. The Pattutun, which I was telling you about, like what I didn't even know as a 4th year student, we wanted to kind of announce this to public in places which is more common. This is a very, very known Ramtana in the city of Madurai. It's in the Palanganathan area. So we wanted to announce people that there is something like this in store for you inside. So we wanted to keep that announced in the entry. The media started talking about it. They started looking at these spaces. The public started owning about these spaces. This is the railway station. I have just another couple of projects. Hope I'm not running too much into time. Okay, this is the railway station where we kind of were commissioned to do the eastern entry to the railway station. You could see the pictures of the facades, which are kind of more of westernized. It was a very neatly done Dravidian style of architecture, but the Aluco panels and the curtain glazing was what was the most celebrated thing brought into these public designs also. So this is just to give you an idea of what the model is. I would want you to see from the eastern side. This is a picture which is taken towards south. The eastern side is where you had more of just these roads and pockets of green spaces where one as a designer had to kind of put them into proper functional spaces. So these are the old models of how the railway station existing models were. There was so much of chaos in traffic and transportation. We had to kind of split the people. Like these were the study sheets that were done in convincing. And again, there was another officer who was here who was getting this project through. These were the proposals with the pedestrian area being given more importance to, the reorganizing of the vehicle routes, the parking, some public spaces to sit. So this is how it got realized, and this is how the whole thing has got changed. Now, again, like what I said in the Meenakshi temple, we always believe in giving simple solutions. We don't look at kind of doing high funda things. We just try to do only things what is required. We need a public space where people, this is a place where people move in fast pace. They just move in, come into the train and move off. So they need good walkable spaces, some green areas, which is interesting, and also some sitting space to do. And we segregated again the pedestrian to the vehicles and the bus transport. This is another project where architect Jaykumar was involved with us in a landscape thing with the Tripuramundaram, which I told you about the exchange of the other side of the city. This is a 4-acre lot park where we try to show the authorities that we don't cut a single tree in this park. You could see the hillock, you could see the native palm tree, palmyra trees that is around there. We stuck to the natives of what Madurai architecture would be, how would Madurai's rural settings be. We created parks with that kind of a setting. This is another large project which we did, and just throwing light upon, because as an urban designer, if I was given this project as an architect, I would have dealt it in a much different way. But being an urban designer, one understood the context of this. This is the Ulaga Tamil Sangam project which we did, and just rushing upon. These were the 3D illustrations of how we envisaged this 14.5 acres. This is how it got really built at site. It is in 2016. And seeing the works that we do, we are now pulled in by the private players also. This is a very old college in Madurai. I don't know, most of you would know. It's the Lady Doe College. It's about 70 years old. And this college, now looking at all these, and there are people who are involved in the city also want to do something for a master planning for there. This is how things creep in. I've just put in this slide to show you that it's just not the city which kind of has envisaged proposals. Once you do things like that, large sites, which over 70 years, just like what the city was built by various people, the various principals and various boards have built things. Now they want to go in for a comprehensive planning for this site. This is the Bandiur tank again, for which we are doing. Just one moment, I'll just switch on the charger. 1 minute. Sir. So now we are also doing the master plan for about 100 and odd acres of the Alagarkoil. The Meenakshi temple, again, we are working inside as the master plan consultants for them. And that's it with the final slide. This we also do architecture where we kind of look in of how the build structure that we do responds to the city. I think I'm done with my presentation. Thank you, Logu sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. I think no, this time is not enough to share your experience. I think each project will have to do a separate series. It can go on for weeks, I think so. Yeah. So there are a few questions from students and participants who are actually in the group. So let them keep sending. I request everyone to send their questions in the chat box. In the meantime, if you can ask our IT team, Sivi, can you just play a video of our college, like a break?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Until the time we get a question. So until the video is being played, we'll just take up a few questions from the audience. And
we have a few questions in the chat. Do we go one by one about it?
Yes, sir. We'll just go one by one. So. Okay. So here is like, how is it for you dealing with creating new cities versus dealing with old city? Is there a difference? How would you deal with if suppose you're given an opportunity to create a city? How would your
personally looking at it, I would fall onto the old city grid as a personal favorite for two reasons. Like the city from where I was born and brought up is such a culturally rich city, and here you don't have to think much because everything is readily available to you as the context. You will have to stick to the basics in an old city. In new city, there are a lot of opportunities for new thinkings. You can bring in new technological things. You can, not that you cannot bring them in old cities, but in old cities there'll be certain limitations. But the new cities where the slate is clean, you can try and experiment. The second point which I said in terms of the old city is you dare not to experiment in an old city. Then you will be taken for a 6.
Actually, only the restrictions, I'm sure that the more creativity comes outside. When you have a lot of restrictions, yes, then you think more. Yeah.
For sure. When the challenges are more, the design is better.
So then, Architect Devakumar has said, was the fire accident one of the reasons for you to move the hawkers away from the temple premises?
No, that's been there. I mean, it's just that not hawkers. There is a misunderstanding. It's just not the hawkers who sit inside the temple. They are people who sit inside the temple for almost 100+ years. When you do this project, when you get into detail, when you see their ownership rights, when you see how the HRNC, these people have been sitting in the shops. Even the HRNC was formed. Even before the HRNC was formed. What is put up in the media and what is being spoken about is something like these people have come in much later as hawkers. It is not that. I still remember my prof, K.T. Ravindran, who walked into the Meenakshi temple, said, "This is where life is." I've seen a lot of temples which just barren walls and barren pillars. But the most interesting thing about Meenakshi temple is the life that these shops create. Like we never look at them as hawkers. We look at them as part and parcel of our culture. And the very reason why they have been given the first priority in relocation plans is that we need to kind of have a win-win situation. You cannot further deteriorate these monuments, which they are not even thinkable. You cannot create another monument like the Bharadeshwara temple or the Meenakshi temple. Let's at least protect them, save them. So now you would see, like an architect, you would have observed anytime you go into the temple, the way the electricity services are taken up, the way these boards are put up, the way these shops are created, all that, though they're part of our legacy, they do such things, but that's purely because of lack of knowledge. Had they known about it, they wouldn't have done it. So if there are people like us who know about it, we go tell them how things have to change. So we are doing that relocation plan where we are considering them a part. It is never as hawkers. We have never kind of split them. They are part of our design process.
Okay. Sir, one person asked, is there any proposal for Jallikattu that is going to happen?
No, the Arapalayam Roundana, I'm sorry, as I told you, this is a Jugalbandi of the various presentations. I don't know how many of you noticed that black platform that is kept. That was for the Jallikattu. But there's one more selfish thing to this. I never put that photograph of the Jallikattu because the Jallikattu bull, the kind of thing, as a Tamilian, as a person I have towards Jallikattu, and you see the thing put up there at the Roundana, it looks like a different species. It is not a bull, it is not a lion, it is nothing. It's the worst thing that could have anybody done in that. I'll also share it in the WhatsApp or something. So I look at the platform that I created. I know that it is for Jallikattu, but somehow when it comes, you could see this is doing a lot of rounds in Facebook and all that. You will see that bull like a half lion, half bull kind of thing. It's absolutely no way connected to our Jallikattu bull. So I refrain from sharing that photograph.
Yes. Sir, for you, you've been dealing with a lot of bureaucrats and government officials for a long time. How is it dealing with them? Is it difficult, or how do you crack that? Because there is a situation when most of the proposal doesn't go forward. But for you, having worked with them for quite a long period of span, what is that you're learning?
The government officials, there are plenty of things, there are both pluses and minuses with government officials. I said, whatever I've shown you now in pictures are those who were pro these projects. They understand this project, they understand what the consultant is trying to convey. They pitch in everywhere possible to kind of create. Like it was 3 IAS officers to whom I was continuously telling about vacating that Punatur Chatram land and giving it for the replacement of Pudumandapam. One IAS officer, I don't want to name them, one IAS officer said, Vallippan, you're always giving issues which are going to create problem in the city. You want me to be in the newspapers the very next day. That was his kind of view. There's another one who was half convinced but didn't want to take a daring step of giving it. The third one, where I would like to name him, he's Udeshandran IAS, who I have a lot of respect for. A very bold man. I told him this on Thursday. And usually these meetings happen at 12 midnight at his camp office.
Yeah, now we can play the video until then. Yeah.
So this was part of the works done by students. The video itself was made by the students, just the first year students. Until we thought not that we had this time to actually play the video when the connection got disconnected. Lonath, you want to add something?
Yeah, wonderful. Good afternoon, everybody. Special thanks and best wishes, Architect Valliyappan sir. First of all, I must appreciate your special efforts that you put in for this presentation to make it just nice for architects and architecture students and those who are aspiring into architecture, because each and every project, it looks like it will have separate presentation for 2 to 3 hours. So you made it very concise and very precise, and it was very nice, crisp, engaging, and very gripping. Thank you so much,
it was a pleasure.
And what a beautiful documentation! Yeah, what a beautiful documentation of the architecture of Madurai. You just concentrate in one region, one city. The Madurai, which is the oldest, one of the oldest cities in our country, and particularly, the pedestrianization around the Meenakshi Amman temple. See, when you go on a vehicle, I have gone there many times. Even before this has happened, we just pass across, and then you don't experience. But when you are a pedestrian, you experience. Particularly once it is only pedestrian, you certainly experience that space, the volume, that whatever the vibration or whatever the spirit of the space. So I think the entire population of Madurai, not only Madurai, the entire population of our country should give a big thanks to you for all this much of effort that you have done. And I think that is about your statement, what you did now. We are not reconstructing the monuments. We are just identifying the scope and space to make places that actually where we can relive the heritage and culture. This is a wonderful mantra. So kudos to you, wonderful work. I don't know how to say. Maybe Architect Valliyappan is very lucky to work on Madurai. Our Madurai city, which is one of the oldest city in our country, is lucky to get Architect Valliyappan.
Sir, I think your words are too big and I don't deserve that. It's just two things. Like when you do...
You are being very humble. You are being very humble, Valliyappan sir. Anyway, actually, the works actually speak for you. That is one thing. And on behalf of Chettinad School of Architecture, we extend very great thanks to your presentation. Chettinad School of Architecture is a 105-acre facility with international standard facilities and development. In Chettinad School of Architecture, we believe, we trust, and then we actually impart industry-oriented training. Like we believe in more of outdoor than indoors. Eminent architects visit our college and they have informal communication with the students. Our students are taken to project sites, and our students are taken to other institutions. They are more just let free to visit other institutions, and then other architects' offices. So this is the kind of exposure we want to create. We want to be slightly different from this thing. So we are also working on many collaborations, and we believe, enable, empower, thus educate. That is kind of thing what we are planning. And at this juncture, I also want to thank Architect Ramalingam sir, Architect Jayapandian, Architect Anthony Morais, Architect Devakumar, Architect Senthilvel, Architect Ramji. All these people have also attended this webinar, and wonderful thanks to all of them. And I think with this few words, I will curtail my part.
The most of the list that you said, most of them who you said are the ones who kind of groomed our brains, sir. I had a chat with Ramji sir a couple of days ago. Rami sir has always been, today I'm an urban designer because he's the one who at least put me onto the direction of what urban design is. The Periyar bus stand site, which was his own site, which he was giving proposals to the city, he made me do that as the thesis for my bachelor's in architecture, which in fact fetched me my seat in SPA Delhi. And though he has not done his urban design degree, his thinking in urban design is what kind of put me into these directions. Whatever you do today goes back to what people have put it into your brains. And another very important person who Ramji sir, I would fail if I am not mentioning him, is my father, who stood behind, because there was both hard and good times in these public projects. He's always been a pillar of strength and has been a pillar of strength today. Rami sir used to just jokingly say, when a BR degree is given to you, at least a diploma in architecture degree is to be given to your father. Because public projects, only we as designers can never achieve it, sir. It requires a lot of other kind of support, which, and that is another reason why we didn't do projects outside Madurai. We did before 2008. 2008 and onwards, it is only what we could do, and it's quite a handful of work that we could do within the town.
No, we must thank the time also for keeping you within Madurai. So that way also we should thank the time also. And see, in Chennai, we are sitting in an ocean. But you people are in a wonderful Vaigai Nadi. Okay, it originates in Western Ghats and then it goes towards the Bay of Bengal. It's such a journey, such a travel, and it's such a spirit. So you people are very, very lucky, and certainly I understand, I agree with you that all these architects also have Ramalingam and all, we have discussed at those times when you were working on this Madurai and things like that. He was also having a lot of part into it. Thank you, all of you. Vaidyanathan sir, then next we can go over.
So there are a few more questions. What we'll do, we will maybe mail it to you after some time. Then you can just, if possible, then whenever you can get time. And small request, sir, when the COVID everything gets over, we will surely take our students to your office or your projects in Madurai, and we would like to spend some time with you, 1 or 2 days with you, and to get to know the way in which you're working. And the life experience will really be valued by all the students.
It'll always be a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So we'll just have the vote of thanks by my room, then we will just end the session.
Now I would like to thank architect Valiyappan sir for joining us today. Thank you, sir, for spending your valuable time with us and sharing with us your experience. It was really very interesting and insightful. And thank you, sir, once again. I would also like to thank our Dean Architect Loganathan sir and our Head of Department Architect Vaidyanathan sir. Also want to thank our Chettinad School of Architecture for giving this opportunity. And I also like to thank CARE University and Management for giving this platform. And also like to thank IT team and everyone who has joined us today. Thank you once again, everyone. Now we'll just see our next section program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So if possible, we'll have a version 2.0 of this meeting.
Sorry, I didn't.
No, if possible, we will have a 2.0 of this meeting.
That might be boring, yeah.
No, sir, no, not at all. No.
Sir,
it's not enough for us.
I take this opportunity on behalf of Chettinad School of Architecture. We welcome to our college sometime, and then.
Certainly, sir. Anything for the fraternity and the students.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.